That's how you start off a podcast. America. All right, man. So we're live. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Real Pundits podcast. This is Brennan.
And this is Alex, and this is America.
America. No, so we're having some technical difficulties, so we're just messing around right now to try to get to see if we can get this whole thing to work without crashing.
All right. So you were sick last week.
I was sick last week. I watched a bunch of old cartoons.
And that led you to?
Hating The Simpsons.
Okay.
So that's the topic of today's episode. No,
you're going to use your...
This is a cautionary tale. More than it is anything else. So we're on season 30 of The Simpsons.
Right.
A show that, as you put it earlier, is
a staple
television staple.
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of your watching. It's
been on every week while in season for 30 years.
Plus, you have FX doing
the reruns.
And
that show stopped being funny, but somewhere between season 9 and season 15. At some point, it just quit being funny.
Mm-hmm.
Family Guy's getting
to you.
To most people. The general consensus.
The general consensus, yes. I mean, we're also dealing with that same thing with, like you were just saying, Family Guy, American Dad. Like, an American Dad episode is just getting really raunchy and over the top.
It's the same thing with Family Guy. Family Guy's wash, rinse, repeat. Same episodes, different situations.
Right.
To quote a past comedian who is no longer on this planet, Mitch Hedberg. It's just a carbon copy of a previous joke with different ingredients. That's what every episode of The Simpsons, Family Guy, South Park. South Park is actually starting to be a lot more continuative, where they used to just have individual episodes. Now their seasons are making sense.
Okay.
And tying in together. But even South Park they're running out of things. But you only can go.
But people are still watching. So no matter what, I understand your point of view of these shows have just been going on, but we've also just been dealing with a lot of other real life stuff. You need something to be able to draw yourself into.
Yeah, sure.
And it's comfortable for those people who watch those shows.
But if you look at the ratings have declined.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with all the shows that have been long running. Heck, WWE, right? Raw 25 was just last year. That's 25 years of Raw. And they don't have off seasons.
Right.
They go every week of the year, 52 weeks a year for 25 years now. They've done shows. And I am ish wrestling fan. But it's gotten to the point where they put it on because the people that like wrestling watch it.
Right. But see, as long as those numbers still exist.
They went from 10 million viewers to an average of 2.5 million viewers.
But that's still 2.5 million viewers, and that same situation can be said for the people watching The Simpsons. You may not be looking forward to every week. Oh, I can't wait for The Simpsons to come on. No, but if your family's around
nothing else to do.
Well, if your family's sitting around eating dinner, you can go through and at least put on The Simpsons. And for the most part, it's family friendly. Now, they've kind of pushed that limit with The Simpsons recently due to the competition going far out of the family friendly zone. So,
but this is more of a.
But you're saying this is a cautionary tale. So I want to see how you're going to apply this to
from WWE to The Simpsons
to the rest of Hollywood.
From WWE to The Simpsons.
Okay.
These things have been going on way too long with no real challenging competition. So at this point, they're just using the fact that 2 million people will watch them every week, or even 500,000 is good enough on a Sunday night at 8:00.
Yeah. But I mean, what, that or football?
Yeah. So 500,000 people, 2 million people, doesn't matter. It's not the numbers they used to see. You used to get 18, 20 million viewers every week watching The Simpsons.
Yeah, but you also have people who have literally grown up with being a baby and have watched every episode as they've grown up all the way up for these past...
You're looking at one.
Yeah, so...
I'm one of those people who... This show came on the air when I was 3.
Mm-hmm.
I've literally grown up watching The Simpsons. It says a lot about my upbringing that I was allowed to watch The Simpsons at a very young age, but my parents watched it and I was up watching with them.
All right.
But the reason this is a cautionary tale is they've lost viewership, right?
Yes.
And with syndicated television, you don't really need... It's not like selling box offices. It's not... Simpsons, WWE, Family Guy, they can stay on until they literally have nobody watching because Fox just has them in a time slot. People watch it, people don't watch it. The ad money's still paid.
But then that brings up the next big question. in our current entertainment world, that's not the only way people watch things. Now, if you thought about the idea of them putting it on streaming,
Yeah, Hulu. Yeah, so a lot of your major network shows, when their ratings are pulled, they do two separate ratings. They do what's watched live and then their
watch streaming.
streaming amount. And that's where most people will watch The Simpsons. But at the same time, you can look at in minute blocks for your ratings on television.
Right.
You can't do that with streaming. It's people watched it. They don't really say when you stopped watching it because people will pause it because something happens, have to shut their system down, or just walk away and stop. Be like, okay, this episode sucks. It was still played.
Yeah.
Done.
So you think it's a cautionary tale now. How can that apply to the
Hollywood,
the big machine?
So you have people already talking about Marvel fatigue.
That's strictly my point of view. Is it's
brand
based.
based.
It's brand based. I don't really think
I'm
it's
bringing
comic
up,
book.
I'm bringing up The Simpsons. I'm bringing up a cartoon brand.
Okay.
South Park, a cartoon brand. WWE, a wrestling brand. Right. People can only take so much of the same content before finally they check out.
Right.
And you'll get your hardcore fan base. So what you're getting right now is hardcore Simpsons fan base, but you're not bringing anybody new to the table. And eventually, they will also leave and quit. But you're having the super fans are still watching.
Yeah, but there's people who have been with having that foundation and knowing that it's always there. It's a comfort. It's a security blanket.
It works for television.
It
won't work for the box office.
And that's where I say that I think it will, as long as we are conscious of the public that we.
If Disney stops putting these Marvel films in the theaters and just puts them exclusively to their streaming, like Netflix did with Cloverfield Paradox, sure, you might be able to get that same. You might be.
But Cloverfield Paradox is a one-time thing. Like the way they marketed that could only be done once.
No, it can be. Once can become the standard.
But that standard won't survive. Because if you don't give the product properly, what made Cloverfield work was hardcore fan base of people who follow the Cloverfield.
Do you know how most people find new shows to watch?
Randomness.
They look at their home page of Netflix.
Yeah, well, I mean
that's how you discover what's new now.
Or you do the stuff that we do and research shows, and
that's us.
Yeah.
But so we're the hardcore film geeks that are still going to go to the theater and watch things, begrudgingly sometimes, knowing that this is going to be a terrible movie. We're still going to just get up and go.
But you think that with the current state of entertainment, when you have shows like The Simpsons that have been a foundation, a staple of TV, that won't cross over into the box office numbers. I think that with what Marvel has done, they've made their own staple. There's always going to be a Marvel movie. Now, will the fans gobble it up the way they did with Guardians 1 and 2?
No.
I think there is a slight bit of fatigue in what we're doing.
Look at where Star Wars is right now.
That's
whether that is a ruined product.
That's not a ruined product.
Or a scorned fan base.
That's a scorned fan base.
Eventually, you're going to get to the point where all you're going to have watching are the hardcore fans.
Up until the moment that Disney does their streaming. And there's a lot of people, fans, hardcore fans, and casual fans who are all looking forward to The Mandalorian. So I think there's still a rabid fan base. I think based on the movies themselves. Hollywood
and TV should stop overstaying their welcome.
Is that your big statement about
this?
Okay.
This is in my opinion, if you were to put a new edgy comedy show, cartoon, on a different network, rivaling The Simpsons.
We already did that. Originally Family Guy.
Same network.
The same network. You're right.
Different network.
Okay, I'm trying to think of...
So you're fighting the time slot. Take you back to the mid-90s, and I'm going to bring up WWE again, back when it was WWF and WCW.
Is this turning into a wrestling podcast?
It is not. I'm not going there. That's a different fan base for a different time. But you go back to that, right?
Right.
Combined, they were pulling 10 million viewers. That does not mean that that's what each show was watching. Some weeks were more for WCW. Some weeks were more for WWF.
So what you're saying is that with TV right now, what we need is honest competition, because right now the honest competition is streaming.
Right.
But
you look at what the creators of Futurama did with Disenchanted.
Yes, that's
Not funny. It
it's
wasn't
interesting.
funny.
I thought it was interesting.
Interesting isn't Futurama. Futurama was funny.
Okay.
We don't watch comedy for interesting. We watch
I watch
comedy.
it for as an animated feature. I'm not one. I'm one of those people. I'll just watch it. Just okay. Let's see what you've created.
Let's see if it gets renewed for season 2.
That is going to be the big question.
Because that's what I don't see happening. Too many people were like, oh, not good. But in Simpsons, they're going to keep doing that until nobody watches.
Right.
But the writing for the last 15 seasons been lazy.
Well, I mean, once you have a product and you know exactly what works, it goes into a format. So
a format's one thing, and the format is family has crisis, family
survives
crisis. That's been since season 1. And it's been the lazy joke writing. I don't watch comedy for formats. You watch comedy for jokes. You watch.
Okay, now name another TV family that has who's existed for this long.
There isn't one.
Okay,
and there's a reason for it. Most shows get like when the peak happens. That's when most shows are like, okay, we're good. We can stop now. Some overstay their welcome, such as Seinfeld and Cheers.
Wow, you're going after Cheers?
And I like Cheers.
As you see, I avoided the whole Seinfeld thing.
Watch the last season in comparison to the previous seasons. They all can't be MASH, where every season was just
something that you had to watch.
Out the park.
Yeah, well, the same situation happened with the TV show The Middle. They just declared a final season and they let it go. But I want to see exactly how this is going to portray into the future of movies, especially with the competition of streaming. Especially since there's so many people.
Well, as I said, if Disney does this with just releasing these films to streaming, yeah, they might have to back off their budget because they're not going to make as much, but they should do that anyways eventually because they're not going to make as much.
Yeah, but when it comes to budget, we're already handling said situations. I mean, you look at how the production level of Luke Cage, rest in peace, and...
Yeah, see how that went for him. Which, actually, I thought about this. They've taken to take it back to a couple of episodes ago where we were talking about the death of Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
The rest in peace, Luke Cage. Go ahead.
They took. You were right. They took those shows as far as they could for those shows. It's not like you have a ton of interesting stories for Luke Cage. You could have had you not killed off the villain in season 1 that you killed off.
Yeah, but at a certain point, if we're going to get into this just for a second. That story is going to only go but so far when you just keep Luke Cage strictly
right. Well, that was
Hell's
the point
Kitchen.
Of doing the Defenders. Well, he was in Harlem, not Hell's Kitchen.
Oh, excuse me, but
yeah. Well, that was the point of doing the Defenders and then possibly Heroes for Hire.
The Heroes for Hire thing, I still think is a
it's
high
a possibility,
potential.
sure, on Disney's streaming service.
If they can work out the other end of this, because more information came out about this. So the director said that there were some issues as far as on the business end of it, and that is one of the other reasons, the true reasons why it was canceled. It wasn't just the numbers.
The Luke Cage actor said,
no, Luke Cage director.
Oh, he wanted more money?
They never said it was about money. They just said that they had some...
They can't do a Game of Thrones that just get a new director for every episode?
You know, I would be interested to see a different way of doing it.
Sons of Anarchy did it. Game of Thrones did it.
A lot of shows do it. They'll go through and
they have a showrunner, and then they have different directors.
And then there was a couple of different directors that were involved in the Luke Cage series, but not big name directors where you're like, this week has been directed by, and you insert it. That same situation's actually happening with The Mandalorian. I think I've talked about this before.
You know what I'd like to see?
Huh?
I'd like to see Luke Cage directed by Scorsese. Think about it for just a minute.
Okay, I'm trying to
think about it for just a second.
Like I was going to say,
how well
Spike, I think Spike Lee would have. I
mean, Spike Lee, sure, but think about how well Gangs of New York did.
Yeah, but you would have a totally different version of Luke Cage. You're no longer dealing with Luke Cage anymore. I don't think Scorsese could pull it off.
I mean, Scorsese can pull off just about anything.
I think
it's a crime. It's a crime movie. It would be Luke Cage stopping heist after heist after heist.
Yeah, but it would almost go borderline noir, and it wouldn't be the Luke Cage that we all know.
Which would be different.
Oh, it would
shake it up.
It would shake things up because I would love to see the ending of a Luke Cage where directed by Martin Scorsese. You're like, whoa! I wonder that was so violent, and why the only people he was fighting were Italian.
Scorsese does hate Italians.
But either way, we're gonna move on to our next topic that we were going into.
Speaking of overstaying your welcome, they're making a second Gladiators.
And yeah, this is a thing that is. We talked about this in the very beginning of the Real Pundits when we first started up, and we were complaining about
sequels,
about
continuations,
sequels and remakes.
reimaginings, remakes.
But now we're getting bombarded with people going through and, hey, it worked one time in the 90s. Why don't we try it right now? And some of these things are, hey, it worked in the
principle.
80s.
That's the same principle they're using with The Simpsons. Hey, this worked in the 90s. Let's keep going with it.
Really? We're going to go there? So we have a list of movies, and I'm just going to go over them. I just want to see exactly what you think of some of these current remakes that we have going on. The first one, I want to save one of the better ones for last. First off, they're talking about Gladiator 2.
I know.
How in the world, when our main character is in his next dimension with his wife...
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe he comes back from that dimension with his wife to avenge somebody in a gladiatorial pit. I don't know. Undead Russell Crowe Gladiator. Come on, let's jump the shark with this.
So we're gonna do. What is this gonna be like? Gladiator, zombie hunter. We're gonna do the whole same thing we did with
Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter. Same concept, just Gladiator.
Oh man! All right, so
no, seriously,
are you interested? Are you
I'm interested in the fact that Ridley Scott is at the helm. So I'm like, what are you going to do, Mr. Scott? But I've also seen recent Ridley Scott stuff and been like, go back to Aliens, please.
Oh, okay. Let's go with the next number 2, Labyrinth Part 2. Now I have some issues with this.
This one I have a problem with.
Okay, first off, no David Bowie.
No Jim Henson.
Wow, you got two people who are
Henson Studios is not involved.
Okay, in that case, then
what's the point?
What's the point?
You don't have puppets dancing. David Bowie's not there to wear a codpiece and kidnap babies. What's the point?
Can we pause for a second and think about the actual...
No, that movie was screwed up. We don't have to talk about it.
No, that's the whole point.
It was the 80s. It was outlandish. If you
want to go with the actual story, if you sit down and think about it, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, that selfish teenager sacrificed her toddler brother to a goblin king played by David Bowie with a bulging codpiece and his gang of goblin Muppets.
And all the things that she goes through to get him back.
Because she realizes she's a selfish piece of crap. And then by the end of it, it all works out for her, and all the Muppets come to her room and have a party. That is literally...
Now, before you go through and just do that rendition of Labyrinth, did you like it?
I did.
Okay,
I did. So when I was a kid, I loved this film.
So that was
as an adult, I still watch it.
You actually going through
as an adult, I still watch it nostalgically, going, "Oh, this is stupid," but I had good memories. So, because there is that capability in me. I do have like happy thoughts sometimes when I go.
I was wondering if you actually had happy thoughts. I thought those were all dead.
I do, but like, there's also the cynic in me that's like,
if you break down that movie,
yeah, it's the same concept. So, with, like Princess Bride, I love that film, but man, that movie is stupid.
So that's a no for Labyrinth 2?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so my next one. This gets into a fun one. Indecent Proposal.
The first one sucked. Why are you doing it again?
Okay, minus the fact you say it sucks. I thought it was still a good movie.
Interesting concept.
Very. But do you think that can be played off now?
No. You're going to literally sell your spouse?
I'm going to give you $1
million for one night with your wife.
You have to modernize it. I'm going to give you 1 million Bitcoins.
Okay, nobody. You can't sell Bitcoin. You can sell Bitcoins. You really can't. Nobody knows anything about Bitcoins. How do you cash them in?
There are places. How are you going to modernize this movie that actually make it make sense?
You literally are just going to do the same thing. You're just going to put it as an Instagram
and it
guy.
won't.
He's going to have found them on Instagram. That's how it's going to happen.
But my problem is that movie, the original concept of the movie, sold for what it was for that time period. Yeah. It made its money. There's tons of people that know the movie. Why go through and remake that one now? I don't think
another question is who really wants another one? Not how. It's the why. What? Who?
Okay. So since we already talked bad about Jim Henson, not bad, but the fact that no Jim Henson, you can't do it. Dark Crystal.
So Jim Henson's involved with that. Jim Henson Studios is involved with that. So I'm game.
Oh, okay. So you're game for that one. Then we're going to get into something a little bit closer.
And that's a Netflix series, so you're not going to rush it. It's going to be done.
It's going to be done properly.
By
So
the
you
first
have some,
eight,
you have some hope
the
for that
first
one.
8 episodes are going to be great. The last couple into 12 are going to suck because you're going to be like, why did they go this route?
So we're going back into the same thing of your
Daredevil.
Netflix theory. Yeah. Okay. So my next one for you. This gets you close to home. Something that you at least, this is in your field. You love horror. This is I'm prepping up this one. Mm-hmm. Child's Play.
Curse of Chucky?
No.
Didn't we just do that?
No. Child's Play.
But
starting all over at the beginning.
But
you just did
Curse of Chucky.
We're not counting that. We're talking about the fact of, hey, they've made so much money off of this whole rebranding and starting anew on Halloween. Why don't we just start going through all of them? Now I'm not gonna bring up Nightmare on Elm Street remake because I know that just gets you fired up.
It does.
But what about Child's Play?
Okay, so Child's Play. All right. So I'm not sure how they're going to pull this off.
New doll. They're going to start.
Good guy dolls aren't.
That's what I said.
That was a thing in the 80s. Those kind of dolls. That's not a thing now. Unless you're going to digitize it, it's going to be some kind of Farmville icon, and he's going to come out of the phone and murder the child, which I'm game for. If
but at that
wasn't
point, it's
done
not really
bunch.
Child's Play,
right? But what child? I mean, I just bought my kid a Teddy Ruxpin, which, by the way, is still made.
Really?
But, yeah, with a digital thing. Like, there's an app on the phone. You can upload the books instead of replacing the tapes. Like, I was just as surprised as you are when Toys R Us went out of business.
Uh-huh.
I got $100 Teddy Ruxpin for like $40 because it was on. Like, I walked in, I saw it was discounted. I'm like, well, what's the chance of this ever happening again? But speaking of reliving the 80s, that was a thing then.
Yeah.
Nobody plays with good guy dolls. Like, could you imagine that gift? You're going to give a modern kid a good guy doll. They're going to be like, what am I going to do with this? Where does my iPod go?
You could have a USB and
in
the hand.
the
hand. There you go.
There you go. Now he's going to strangle you with a USB cord. Congratulations,
hey,
you've modernized.
Maybe you should stop talking about this because they're still in the whole process of trying to get this going.
They're going to
MGM.
fail, I hope.
Well, they've already
done Curse of Chucky. They've already done Curse of Chucky. Let's keep going with this because he just got the power to possess everyone.
Well, seeing the whole
let's
whole
see
Charlie
how this
thing.
goes.
Talking
Charles
about the
Lee
whole
Ray is going to
Charlie
be the
thing.
hive mind.
Talking about Charlie, they're talking about. I know you're not going to even care about this one, but they're restarting again with another Charlie's Angels.
Why? They didn't learn the first time, or did they
so
blame that on?
cynical.
Or did they
You're
blame
so
that on
cynical.
Drew Barrymore? Which I did too.
Well, see, as much as you sit there and complain about it, I thought McG sit there and took a property and made it at least visually entertaining. The guy is a good director
It was
when it comes.
female Mission Impossible, but instead of one Tom Cruise, you had 3 females in the Drew Barrymore,
Lucy Liu,
and then Cameron Diaz. Was that Cameron Diaz?
Yeah,
that was Cameron Diaz. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What an all-star cast.
All right, I'm going to stop you there and go to my next one. The Mighty Ducks.
I'm game for that.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Anything with Emilio Estevez is allowed to be remade.
He's actually coming back.
Is he coming back?
He's coming back.
That's what I'm hoping for. Anything that's going to give Emilio Estevez work. Like
old man Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, come on, man. Because this is probably not a remake. This is probably a continuation.
Based
this is
on
old
the
man Mighty Duck.
They're going a new series that's in development for the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, but he's going to be riding on his coattails of his old Mighty Ducks team. You're probably going to have some cameos of some of those guys that are not working, and I'm fine with it. Because
you're fine with that one.
Because out of the 2 Sheen kids, at least Emilio Estevez had talent.
Wow.
And I love Charlie Sheen, but I love him for all the wrong reasons.
For Tiger's Blood.
Because he's winning.
Because he's winning.
Do you see this?
Yeah. The tattoo of it says winning on you.
Yeah. That didn't date very well.
All right. So next one up. Now this is a classic.
Yep.
And I don't think they should touch it.
Okay.
That's just I'm gonna prep that one straight off the bat.
Prepping this?
Stripes should not be
Why?
touched. What, not be touched?
No. Why are they? Whoa. No. Nothing with Bill Murray in it should ever be remade.
It's going to be on CBS.
It's like telling me
a possible CBS situation.
So a series?
Yeah.
You're going to do a Stripes series?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Are they going to do a Police Academy series next?
Well, we can get farther down on my list. We'll actually have a chance to go through and go over that.
Is that going to happen? My head might implode. Because listen,
it looks like I'll be saving that one for the last one.
There are some intellectual properties out there that came from a golden age of comedy, right?
And you just don't want to see them touched.
I don't, man. Stripes. I don't want to see a remake of What About Bob. I already saw a crappy remake of Vacation I didn't need to see. There's...
Okay. All right.
Let's go.
You're going for your next one?
Yeah.
I'm bringing you up. So, soon on the Disney Channel, in which we'll probably end up going to
I already know where this is going.
Even though we just left Halloween, I missed it by a little bit of time.
I know where this is going. I already read it.
So you ready for Hocus Pocus, the TV series? I mean, we just got rid of... But see, as much as you may sigh about this, look at what ground they're prepping up. We had Sabrina the Teenage Witch that went totally south.
It's going to be on the Disney Channel, which means it's going to be a carbon copy of the previous Hocus Pocus.
Yes, but then eventually, because they went through and did the whole silly version of it on the Disney Channel, Netflix will pick it up and do an extremely dark version of Hocus Pocus.
I want you to think about this. Hocus Pocus was, what, a 90-minute runtime?
Yeah, give or take.
Now think of that broken up into 30-minute episodes 12 times, 13 times. And if it's actually on as a long-running series, 23 half-hour episodes. Think about the runtime. Put them together. And just ask yourself, could you stretch that story that long and still find it entertaining?
Well,
ask
you're going to find that out very soon on
no,
the Disney Channel.
I'm not going to find that out. You're going to have to find that out and tell us on the Real Pundits podcast.
I have no problem with that. I actually have no problem with it. Because I loved Hocus Pocus.
As much as Bette Midler is amazing.
Yes.
Let's be real. Sarah Jessica Parker is not.
Outside of Sex and the City, I would say yes.
Kmart Salem is also not.
Okay.
And yes, I know. I realize his name is Zachary Binks.
Yeah.
But that's Kmart Salem.
Man, you're just going through and knocking out the whole Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
The only cool part of that was the crap talking zombie.
Okay, that was fun.
Yeah, that was the best part of it, because they're like, oh look, she's raising the dead. Oh look, he hates her. Awesome. And there you go.
All right.
And the cool little but
so
I want you to
Hocus
think
Pocus.
about this. I want you to think about how creepy that movie really is. The one power that Sarah Jessica Parker's character has, she can sing and make children follow her.
The Pied Piper.
There is something.
That's what I'm saying. They could totally take this into a Netflix and go into a really dark direction.
They could definitely remake of Nightmare on Elm Street it. They're eating children. Why not make them kitty touchers too? That's a little bit pedo-ish when you can sing and make children follow you.
Okay, so we're going to go on to our next one that's even more going to be weirder and more creepy.
All right.
Okay. So there have been some movies from the 80s that are iconic. No, it's not. I don't have the notes for you to actually see this one. I've saved it. This is a surprise. Because when I saw this one, I was a little in shock. But this is a classic movie from the 80s, a classic tale. And it's been touched on in different movies. There's a Russian movie that had this going on in it. But not always have you had it where you switch the gender. And I know that's a big thing that's going on right now is, swapping the gender of a certain movie and going a different direction. But this one's going in the opposite direction of what we're used to. So I'm going to give you the actor who's involved in it, and then we're going to move forward. First, we're going to start off with Channing Tatum.
He's funny.
Okay, you're good with this? He's
funny.
Okay. Now I'm going to tell you, in the original movie, there was a guy named Tom Hanks who fell in love with a Daryl Hannah who was playing...
Oh my God, they're doing Splash. With Channing Tatum as the mermaid?
Yeah.
Who greenlit this?
This is all this really is. This is one long back-to-back who greenlit this episode.
What?
Yeah. It's right now it's in the early stages of development, but
look, Channing Tatum. This is, if you'll probably never hear this, but if somebody listens to this that knows this man, please just relay this message. You were on the verge of doing a Gambit film.
Yeah, but before that happens, he's going to do Splash.
Doing a Gambit film years ago. You were just in the sequel to Kingsman, arguably not as good of a film, but still an okay film. You just did the only acceptable remake I've seen in the last decade. 21 Jump Street. Why was it acceptable? Okay. Because the series sucked too.
Yeah, but they were it was straight up lampooning
they were making fun of the whole thing, and I appreciated it. Turns out, much like Zac Efron, some of these guys are hilarious.
Okay.
And what Channing Tatum was in that movie with Vince Vaughn too, where he was trying to tell Kevin James that Winona Ryder was cheating on him,
Yeah.
and she was cheating on him with Channing Tatum, and he was funny in that.
Yeah.
It's the guy can do humor. Why does he need to do stupid films like a remake of Splash? And who's playing Tom Hanks?
Oh, that they reversed it, and it's going to be this woman that he saves, and it's going to be Jillian Bell.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, then I'll have to have you look that up later on, so at least you know who it is. Because I'm moving on to the next one, because I want to break your heart with this next one.
Okay.
I'm just going to keep on hitting you with these back to back.
And for the record, normally I have an issue when they like have to recast for gender. I realize why they did it with Ocean's 8.
Okay, but right now I'm going.
Before we do that,
we're doing that already.
I don't have a problem with them regendering Splash. I have a problem with them redoing Splash. I don't care if they kept it the same. I don't care if they had Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah reprise their roles. I have a problem with a sequel of Splash. I have a problem with a prequel of Splash.
It's called Aquaman. It's coming out at the end of
there
this
you go.
year.
Maybe at the end of Aquaman, he just drops Channing Tatum off somewhere.
Hey man, take care over here. All right,
go
back to
man.
breaking your off to breaking your heart.
Let's do it.
All right, did you like John Wick?
Oh man, that's a difficult question.
Well, just a simple yes or no. I mean,
no, it's not a simple yes or no because it's not a simple movie.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase that. It's an incredibly simplistic movie.
Oh,
if I shut my brain off, I love it.
Okay. Well,
if I am overthinking it, I hate it.
All right. Now, but what did you think of the director? I mean, his work in that was
phenomenal. The director's great.
Okay, so at least you can say something positive about that.
And Keanu Reeves is great. It's the writer, whoever wrote that film, which may have been Keanu Reeves. I don't know.
But the whole concept is the director did a good job.
Yes.
So you wouldn't have a problem with him, I don't know, rebooting Highlander?
No.
Wow. I thought that one was going to get
out of all the things that need to be rebooted. Let's go back to the original Highlander. Since I'm crapping on old films that I love. I'm sorry, Labyrinth. And I love the Highlander series. I own everything Highlander. The only thing I don't own is like the last 2 seasons of the series.
Oh, okay.
But like the entire movies, I own every movie they've done. I love the Highlander. But let's be real, Christopher Lambert didn't sound very Scottish.
What about the
and
other
Sean
Scottish
Connery,
guy?
who was the actual Scotsman, played a Spaniard who was really Egyptian with a Scottish accent. Things didn't make any sense. The Kurgan Gall man was more American than anything. I'm not exactly sure if he was supposed to be a Viking. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I don't understand the whole, hey, we're in a wrestling ring, but I'm going to walk. We're in a wrestling show, but I'm going to walk to the parking garage, and we're going to have a sword fight that apparently nobody was in this New York City parking garage. And that baffles me. There's a lot of things in that movie that can be done a little more logically and better. So as much as that should break my heart, that is cheeky fun, and there's really only one way to go with that, and that's up.
Okay, that one is that one. All right, then.
They just have to cast properly. If they're going to do an Egyptian, they need to have an Egyptian. If he's going to be a Spaniard, he needs to mirror Spaniard. Do the guy that played Oberyn Martell, right?
Okay.
That would be a good choice. But put a Scotsman in the Highlander. Don't put Christopher Lambert again, please. He also made a terrible Asian electric god.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about
Mortal Kombat. Yeah. Okay, sorry. So if that one didn't punch you in the gut, then maybe this one will.
All right.
And especially since I know you love the actor.
Oh
boy. Yeah. So I know you love Kevin Hart. I know he's one of your all-time.
Actually, I don't hate Kevin Hart.
Okay. But how do you feel about him redoing The Great Outdoors?
You're not allowed to touch anything. Anything that's ever starred John Candy.
So no John
not
Candy.
Once, not once, not ever. I don't care what your purpose is. I don't care if you dug John Candy up and got him to sign a piece of paper stating, yes, using some weird hocus pocus magic. I don't care. You're not there. There are a few actors in which their movies are sacred. One of those is John Candy. The other one is Chris Farley. Those 2 fat men did great comedy, and you leave them where they are.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to my next one.
I will hate Kevin Hart for it.
Okay, so
and I don't hate Kevin Hart right now.
So I was gonna say after this you would. All right, I got 3 more.
Okay,
and after that I'll let you be. I think I've gotten the cynic out of you quite a bit. I don't know if I want to save this one for the very ending.
Just do it. Just hit me with it, please.
Oh, okay. All these last two are horrors. I know what you did last summer. I'm just going to come straight out with it.
What?
I know what you
Why?
did.
Let's be real. The first one wasn't very good. It was literally trying to capitalize on the Scream momentum by putting two other well-known, Sarah Michelle Gellar, who, really? And Freddie Prinze Jr., who, really? Who's starring in this? Have they gotten that far yet, or is it just in talks? Because if it's just in talks, I can't wait for it to crumble because nobody cares. If they've actually cast actors and they're in pre-production, well, looks like I'm the only one that doesn't care.
This incarnation the writer director will be Mike Flanagan. And the whole thing is, I guess they're going to try to make it more horror based. But you seem kind of calm about that one, so I guess I'm not hitting home.
Because that movie sucked.
All right.
Like, really, it's not like it's an untouchable film. You're going to make a crappy remake of a crappy movie.
All right. Then,
okay.
All right. Then,
par for the course.
All right. Then I guess that one, I'm trying to get you good. So I'm going to go with my next one.
All right.
It's one that I love, and I'm going to have issues with it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of it being just two friends out backpacking out in the middle of England, or even, I don't know, even in Paris, it's going to be a couple.
Here's my as soon as you said backpacking, I knew where this was going, and my face went long.
There's going to be another American Werewolf movie.
And where?
That part is still being.
If it is.
It's currently in development. It hasn't been announced yet, but we're going back to. But okay, that was a good jab. I think that blade was deep.
All right. So I can't tear the original apart. It was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
That it was one of the most painful transformations I've ever seen.
Yeah,
in werewolf film, and I have myself to blame for this. I said the one thing about the horror genre that we needed was more werewolf films because
now you're going to get
enough of them, and now I am getting it from one of my favorite franchises. So I don't know if I should be excited. I guess I got to see the location.
Okay.
And who they cast.
All right.
This is one of those
we'll see.
Are you doing just another American Werewolf in blank, or are you redoing American Werewolf in London, or are you redoing American Werewolf in Paris? Because in Paris could be redone.
Well, right now,
although mid-transformation, hearing Bush's digital mouth.
Right now, they're just keeping it it's in development, so we're going to see exactly how this one goes.
We'll keep track of that. Crow is in development.
Okay.
I'm not worried about anything in development.
True. All right. Here's one of my last two. This one ought to hurt you. So, the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has done quite a bit of retouching things that have already been done. We just recently got through a Jumanji, Skyscrapers.
That was technically a continuation. They referenced Alan Parrish.
Yes, understandable. But still, it's going back to these things.
It was cool. It was a cool nod to Robin Williams. I can accept that because...
Okay. And Baywatch? I'm leading up to
it. It didn't have David Hasselhoff in it. I'm good.
Okay. But there is a movie that it's kind of... I know it's loved. And having him involved with the new version of it, and the screenplay writer, the writers for this one, from the same people who helped write Thor and X-Men First Class. So it looks like
Black Adam?
No,
this is a remake.
This is Big Trouble, Little China.
Nope.
He's the only person who's currently attached to the whole thing.
Nope.
No, what?
No.
How many times can you say no?
A lot. No. Look, there are certain drinking games that I hold dear, and the Big Trouble Little China drinking game is one of them. Let's be real. Come on. That movie is phenomenally bad. It is... I know I just said it's okay to remake bad movies, but there is remaking bad movies, and then there's remaking iconic bad movies. Like, Big Trouble Little China is a really poorly done film, but it's so good. It's so good.
It is.
You could play a drinking game based on how many times he says his name, how many times he references drug. Every time there's an act of Chinese sorcery. It's great. Why? Why are we remaking it? Is it going to be a comedy? Is it going to be a modern comedy? Or are they going to play homage? Because modern comedies suck. Okay. Because they miss how, and The Rock's a funny guy.
All right, so
no.
All right, we're going to wrap this up with my last one because I'm going to lead this one in too. It's going to be fun. You've seen Airplane, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, it was I think it was. Yeah, I'm not. No, they're not. It's not anything about remaking Airplane. But there was a poster, and I think it was Airplane 2, where it was Rocky 25.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was like this old man standing there in his, the boxing shorts and everything. I think we're coming up to that same situation with Rambo.
No, this one I'm good with.
You're good with Rambo.
I'm good with this one. So here's why. Because
explain to me how we're gonna have like Rambo 8. The
okay. So if you recall, there's a couple of episodes ago where we talked about this, and I wasn't on board with this, but I just saw the pictures and read the plot summary, and I'm good with it because the pictures show Rambo as an old man,
in the nursing home.
No,
and
he's on his
all
ranch
of a sudden,
doing ranching things.
While he's in the middle of the nursing home, someone draws first blood because he had to, of course, do his diabetes check.
No,
Upon his diabetes check.
He's a rancher. Somebody comes and goes and gets him and takes him to Mexico. This is going to be a mindless check your brain out action flick, starring Rambo.
So Rambo meets Sicario.
Yeah, which would be a better version of Sicario.
Oh, hey.
Hey, did you see the last Rambo?
No, I stopped because I thought this was getting way too far.
Yeah, there was.
Did you see the most current Sicario?
No.
Okay, then.
Gratuitous violence.
A little.
No. In the last Rambo, gratuitous violence. There is a point where he is on the back of a truck with a .50 caliber automatic weapon, and he is mowing down the Viet Cong, and he's doing it to save church missionaries.
What year is it?
2012.
Wow,
it's awesome because he's just got this giant machine gun, and he's just mowing people down, and he's got this look in his face like he is constipated, and it is hilarious. So this is
okay with.
Yeah, come on, it's starring. I have to be okay with this if I'm okay with Creed.
But the Creed thing at least makes sense.
You're not going to pass on mass murder to people. You're not going to pass that torch. Take this gun and go mow these people down. Yeah, I can see how that's going to go in reviews. That's pretty freaking insensitive right now in this time.
Oh wow.
There's things you don't want to do, and that's one of them. But having this guy, and this is really insensitive to this movie because where he's going is Mexico. So he's gonna go across the. It's a good thing Trump hasn't built the wall in the movie because otherwise he wouldn't get there.
Oh man! So I guess I've gone through my list because the last.
See what happens when you wind me up.
I wanted to see exactly what would happen.
And the last one is Twilight Zone. I know. I'm mad.
If it's in black and white, I'll at least show
it's not going to be in black and white. They're not even going to have the kid in the air. They're not going to have the guy in the airplane. They're not going to have the kid with the TV. It's going to be all new garbage.
It could be good.
It won't be.
It could be good.
Yep. Go ahead and keep telling me that. Every time I say it won't be, I'm right.
Yeah, every single time you say no, ends up coming up to being, it wasn't that bad.
I got okay with Halloween. I didn't get, and then I watched it and I became mediocre with Halloween. Not even really like, yay, more like, meh.
Okay. So, let's end it, man. I got you wind up and then I end the show. That's exactly how I get you wind up and then...
A cautionary tale. Stop overstaying your welcome. And start coming up with original ideas. Stop being lazy.
We have a long list of movies that are coming out that
these are
just
all movies
rehashes.
that were really good in the 80s.
And
some of them were really good in the 90s. Some of them were never good.
But some of them are iconic.
And a few of them were never good.
Okay.
I Know What You Did Last Summer was never good.
Okay, that one I'll let you put on that list.
It was never good.
But if you want to talk about more of these, or you happen to find another remake that's going on and you want to sit there and talk to us about it, go ahead and hit us up at the mailbag at therealpundits.com. And that's where you want to send all of your emails to, and we'll go ahead and read them on the air and talk about whatever it is that you want to talk about, and that will definitely change the show. If you want to sit there and send anything to me as far as tracking me down on Twitter, it's ANA Real Pundit. You can find me there. Brandon, where can they find you at?
You can't find me anywhere right now.
Oh.
I just switched my phones. And I forgot what my Twitter password and login is.
Oh,
I know it.
Wow,
I forgot what my Twitter password is, and I don't remember how to get into the email it's connected to. So as of right now,
the only person you can talk to if you
is
want to
Alex. Yeah, or send it to the mailbag.
So I guess we're gonna be forcing the mailbag. So other than that, you can listen to us on Spotify, Podbean, Google Play. Of course, you can always hit us up on iTunes, and if you want to go through and give us a rating, we'll take anything from 1 to 5. Just give your reasoning behind that. And that's basically it for this week. We were juggling a lot of computer problems, and I guess we got through it because there hasn't been a hiccup yet, unless this whole thing hasn't been recording. At that point, we have a brand new problem because we've been talking for quite a bit about, well, nothing if it didn't record. We're going to find that out real soon through editing.
All right, folks. You have a wonderful night.
Yeah. Do this. Bye.